Maid cafes, anime, turning footsteps into electricity, you all know what Japan is famous for. But let me rant a little bit about the stuff I really don't like about it. There's a high chance you've heard most of the things on this list, but there's a 100% chance that you haven't heard a crudely drawn MS Paint seal rant about these things. Stick around and destroy your romanticized Japan dreams, and or fuel your unproportional and jaded Thing Japan view instead. Here we go! The infamous foreigner loop. The core loop typically looks like this. In order to get a phone plan, you need a bank account or a credit card. In order to open a bank account, you need a phone number and address. In order to get an apartment and an address, you need a phone number, bank account, and often a guarantor. And so the loop begins having no address, which means you can't open a bank account, which means you can't get a phone, and because you don't have a phone, you can't get an apartment, and because you don't have an apartment, you have no address. And so the loop continues. In my experience, the only way you can get out of this loop is if you have your company let you use their phone number for your paperwork and documents, and or they facilitate the contract for your accommodation. Now I understand the reasons for these systems, but as a foreigner, it is such a pain in the butt to get out of that initial loop. Of course, that and any trip to the city hall is probably going to take a minimum of 5 hours at least to process any documents that you may need. But I know Japan is famous for this, so I'm not going to dwell on it any longer. But yes, I definitely did not miss this part of Japan. The heat is no joke here in Japan. Coming from a pretty dry heat state in the US, coming to Japan and suffocating under a layer of my own sweat is always a hard transition for me. Because it's so humid, when you sweat, it doesn't evaporate like it's supposed to. So your body isn't getting rid of heat as efficiently as it wants, and in turn that makes you at higher risk for things like heat stroke. I just got back here in March and I'm already forming pit stains and noticeable back sweat on my walk to work. And it's only 70 degrees. Can you imagine the summer when it's like 90? One time I was doing paperwork with my supervisor at the bank and he just started spasming. I watched in horror as they quickly called someone over while I aggressively fanned him with my hands, in which time my supervisor just went limp and slumped down into his chair. I straight up thought I just watched someone die. When the other people came over, they brought water and wet towels and tried cooling him, and about 5 minutes later, my supervisor moved his arm suddenly and pulled himself upright in his chair. Everyone was asking, 大丈夫ですか? 救急車呼びます? And you know what this guy said? He corrected his posture, planted his feet on the ground, folded his hands in his lap, and he was just straight up like, 大丈夫です. Bro, I understand there's a cultural aspect of not wanting to cause a scene or make people go out of their way to help you, but you were sitting here in an air-conditioned bank and you just lost all motor function for 10 minutes. This is not the time to aura farm. And then after that, we finished opening the bank account. But seriously, if you come to Japan in summer, be prepared for the heat and make sure to drink water. Heat stroke is super common and super serious over here. Oh, that's weird. Who could be here at this time of day? It is so crazy how often people come ringing my doorbell. I think I've had more visitors in the past 4 weeks than I've ever had in my lifetime in America. Over here, they stroll up to your door, ring your doorbell while knocking on your door, and just stare straight into your door cam for like 30 seconds before leaving. Old ladies, old men, guys in suits, foreign guys in suits. One guy I think just likes to ring doorbells. The worst part is sometimes I ignore them and it's actually something important. One time someone rang my doorbell and like usual, I just let them leave, only to hear my mail slot get opened and hear the mail scooter start up and leave. There I found a Fuzai slip indicating that something requiring my signature was attempted to be delivered, but because I didn't answer the door, now I have to reapply for delivery and wait another 2 days. Mind you, this isn't even just door salesmen. It's literally everywhere. People in the streets trying to stop you and lure you into their businesses. Hell, one time I went shopping for a new wireless controller and one of the employees walks up to me and says, はい、いらっしゃいませ。何かお探しですか？あ、大丈夫です。ただ、見てるだけですね。あ、はい、わかりました。なんかさ、私最近 Nintendo Switch 2買ったんですけど、とても楽しいんですよ。ああ、いいですね。なんか僕も買おうと思ったんですけど、かなり高いな。ああ、なるほど。ああ、確かにそうですね。実は本店では1円で Switch 2もらえるキャンペーンを行ってますけど、いかがでしょうか？ And I kid you not, this motherfucker pulls a flyer out of his booty hole trying to get me to join his bum-ass service so I can get a Nintendo Switch 2 for free. And I don't even remember what it was, because the second I realized he wasn't just a cool guy trying to make conversation, but he was trying to manipulate me into enlisting in his scam, I just went cold and I was like, 大丈夫です, you're nice. I understand trying to get that bag and hustling, but in Japan, it feels really aggressive at times, how pushy people can be when they're trying to sell shit. You know how I was just talking about missing a delivery because I wasn't expecting it? Yeah, it happens a lot here. The delivery I missed that I was talking about earlier was my Japanese debit card. And do you want to know why I didn't know it was coming? はい、これでお続きは終わりました。キャッシュカードは1週間ほどでお送りします。はい、わかりました。だいたい何時頃配達されますか？そうですね。時間はちょっとわかりません。じゃあ配達時間の指定はできますか？ちょっとできません。じゃあいつ家にいれば受け取れますか？ And the card was delivered in 5 days, not a week, while I was at work. Like, of course I wasn't at home at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Why would you try to deliver it then? So then you have to take the Fuzai slip, apply for redelivery, where only then you can ask them to deliver at a certain time on a certain day. It's crazy that for that to happen, you have to miss a delivery first. Oh man, that COCOICHI curry is straight bubbling in my gut. I can feel it pushing its way out right now. Shit. A public toilet. I'm saved. If you use this, you better have thighs of fucking steel, or your booty hole better be stretched and ready to shoot your dookie out, because otherwise you're gonna fall backwards and dip your balls or cooch into your own chocolate sauce concoction. Why is it that Japan has robot servers, vertical sleeping pods for salarymen on the go? I mean, they're turning goddamn footsteps into electricity. So tell me why they still have toilets that are equivalent to a hole in the ground. Most of the time, they're not even cleaned well. Every squat toilet I've ever found, even in proper establishments, has caked on piss and shit on it. It is just so nasty, man. Imagine you're outside at a local park, sitting under the cherry blossoms and enjoying a delicious hanami bento, when suddenly you feel a sharp sting in your neck. You look over to your wife, and you find that she is no longer your wife, but a big-ass swarm of giant murder hornets. Japan has some scary-ass bugs. The aforementioned suzumebachi, mukade, and cockroaches. Well, those are the common ones at least. But there's just so many bugs in Japan. Especially if there's greenery or rice fields by your apartment. I actually no longer dry my laundry outside like most people do in Japan, because one time, after bringing my laundry, 2 big-ass moths flew out from my sushi underwear. So now, I just dry my clothes in the shower, where it takes 3 times as long, but hey, at least that way they're bug-free. And that's all I can think of as of right now. I'm sure there'll be other things later, and maybe I'll make another video about it, which, if you want to see, you should subscribe. Also, check out my Patreon if you want to support me. It goes a long way in helping me create more content. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.